Coming from a Chinese descent, my family despises the idea of getting emotionally attached to Japanese culture. Since a very young age, I had to go against this oppression and pursue my area of interest in this field. Going back to my childhood, I never had an opportunity to see the so-called outside world until I got into college. I used to live in Brooklyn with my parents and 8 aunts and uncles along with my cousins. By the age of 4, the family split up and went separate ways. My family in particular moved to Flushing, Queens. Completely new to my surroundings, after moving in, my next-door neighbors decided to bully me from elementary school up into high school. Now my family does not know of these incidents as I put on a very convincing display that I'm having fun. But after facing these hardships, socializing isn't exactly my forte. Around this time, my brother introduced me the world of animation and manga, aka Japanese comic books. At first I didn't take much of a liking to these cartoon shows, but along the way it became my place for solace. At this point, you might as well call me a hermit, or how the Japanese people would call it, a hikikomori, which directly translates to shut-in. Now I think the very first Japanese anime I ever watched is Dragon Ball, with the character Goku never giving up to evil, as others would call it. It motivated me to not give in to the bullying, hence why I still went to school. Now relating to Naruto, where a child who was always bullied since young, never gave in to that despair and challenged those irrational disturbances in his life, was able to gain recognition from the villagers, the very same people who placed him in isolation. As both Goku and Naruto wears an orange uniform, unexpectedly, orange has become an inspirational and motivational color to me. These weren't the only animations or mangas that I've read or watched. After years of literally begging my parents to allow for the trip to Japan, I went on my very first trip there in the summer of my 8th grade, or somewhere along there. I barely remember the times there aside from the lack of sleep as well as the extreme case of jet lag. However, I do remember them saying that on Mount Fuji, people sell eggs where if someone eats one, they gain an extra 7 years of life. 2 eggs, 14 years, but on the 3rd egg you subtract 2 years because of high cholesterol. After coming back, I still very much enjoy learning about the Japanese culture. I began by studying the language in middle school and continued to do so in high school. One of my favorite words that Japanese people would say for encouragement is ganbatte, which directly translates to good luck. Every time I feel down or discouraged, I would always whisper to myself this word, ganbatte.